Internet, what is up? This next episode of the podcast has been brought to you by our good friends over at BC Precision Ballistics. If you have not heard of BC Precision Ballistics, then you need to, if you're in shooting sports or you're a hunter or you're a competitive shooter, you need to go check them out because they are the inventors and proprietors of the 6mm max round. This is a 6mm round that they have structured and redesigned case geometry to fit into it fires out of a 5.56 223 platform, but it's a 6mm round. So it just requires a barrel swap, really, because they're operating it at chamber pressures equal to or lesser than the 5.56 round, which is kind of the magic. If you guys know anything about 6mm arc, which is a Hornady round, it has been really difficult to get that thing to run in the AR platform, and because of chamber pressures and what's going on with that round, it has been shearing bolt lugs and snapping bolt faces in half. So mainly shearing bolt lugs off. So 6mm max fix that problem where you're getting a 6mm bullet going at much higher velocities than the 6mm arc. You're getting lower chamber pressure, and it's not destroying parts inside the gun, and the gun is running amazingly well. So go check them out, bcprecisionballistics.com, or on the gram at BC Precision Ballistics. And that will wrap up the ad read. And you motherfuckers know what's up. It is Weapons Free Wednesday, and it has been a hot minute. So let's fucking G-O.
Cause I'm so fucking good! Get some, baby! Get some! Get some! Get some! Get some! Get some! Come on! Get in! Come on! Get some! Get some! Yeah! 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 I got you, mother.
Okay. Well, here we are. We're back. Brian, where the fuck have you been? Update for all my people. I've been out adventuring. I've been out enjoying life. I've been out just doing my thing. I needed a break after the movie project. The movie project was an amazing project. I had a great time working on it. I can't thank my crew of guys that I worked with, specifically Brian Pickens. If you guys don't know who he is, he's been on the podcast. He's been a guest on the podcast. We are getting geared up to do part 2 with him. Part 1 we did in his garage last year. Yeah, I think it was summertime last year. It was late summer last year before I took off to go to Australia. And he was still in the middle of trying to get retired. He is now fully retired after a 20-year career in the 1st Ranger Battalion and 10th Special Forces Group. And he has an amazing story. So if you want part 1 of that podcast, go check that podcast out. I don't know which one it is off the top of my head, but yeah, just give a scroll through the episodes there and find Brian's episode and give it a listen. It's a great one. Brian and I have a long history together. Great dude. And I think while we're at it, I'm just gonna talk about kind of some things that have happened to me on my adventures, and one of them being just taking a minute to have some gratitude for all the amazing people in my life. I got to meet because of Brian and working on that movie, I got to meet an amazing crew of men on that team that Brian put together to help be extras and tech advise in that movie project. And it was really great, and it was really cathartic to be back into a team environment with dudes that that are cut from the same cloth that I am. There's those of us that are warriors that's just what we are. That's the blood that courses through our veins, and that's who we're always going to be until we're not existing on this plane anymore. So the team was amazing. So shout out to Matt and Maddie and Q and old Travis. Miss you, buddy. Miss all you guys. So I got to work with a really great crew of humans, and we just had a phenomenal time together. And then the other thing that we did was that team of guys on set, we were just kind of the life of the party on that set. And I think that some of the crew that we made really, really good friends with, shout out to the hair and makeup team and everybody else that we got to, that we had a great interaction with. People were they didn't know what to really make of us at first, at least by the time I came on the project, because we're team oriented. So when the director was like, cut, okay, need to change angles here, move these carts out of the way. And the all the tradies had all of their carts, that they would push their gear around on. The grips had their cart, the lighting people had their cart, the hair and makeup team had their little pull around carts. The camera crew had their carts, and we would just be sitting there kitted up and have our costumes and our props on us, i.e., plate carriers, guns, all multicam commandoed out, and we would just pitch in and we would help move everybody's stuff around with them, and we were team players, and that really was something that I don't think that crew, which was the top tier of the I can't talk too much about the movie because I signed a non-disclosure agreement, so I can't go too into details about anything yet. It's probably going to be released this summer, but had A-list actors, top line A-list actors that we got to work with. The director is famous for his work and super amazing, and it was a fantastic project to work on. And so one of the takeaways that I had was meeting those people. I established some really great friendships, primarily with the hair and makeup team. So shout out to all you girls, to Heba and to Mandy and to Gina and to Ahu. Love you guys. I had so much fun hanging out with you guys and doing everything that we did. And recently, I would just like to thank Heba and Shep, who Heba was the department head for the hair and makeup team, and she recently, as I was adventuring around California, reached out to me and gave me an invitation to come to her house and hang out in LA and spend time with her and her husband and her family. And I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to do that. And I think I kind of got adopted as the is the nomadic bastard son of that family, and I just had a great time with them. And I'm going to kind of use that as a stepping off point now to kind of discuss our current political situation. First of all, how's everybody enjoying their election season? It's fucking just more of the same garbage, in my opinion. Everybody that's been listening to this podcast and following me for long enough knows that I'm very apolitical. I hate our political system. I will openly say I hate our government. Okay. I don't hate my country. I love my country. I love my fellow citizens in this country. Even though they do crazy shit on both sides of the aisle. I'm not a big proponent of politics. I kind of really vehemently dislike politics, but you can't help, if you've been on the pointy end of things and you've been an instrument of the government to deliver foreign policy in a military capacity, as I did for a long time, you cannot help but notice and get involved in things. So, but one thing that I think is discouraging to me is just how much social media is weaponized and how much it just proliferates, and then you add the whole AI bots and just shitty humans in the mix, and it's a constant flurry of people going back and forth at each other, and everybody always wants to prove their point and be right. Everybody thinks that they've got the latest to date facts. Everybody thinks that their science is correct, and it's just making me sick to spend much time on social media right now. And then all of the wonderful, you know, uh, censorship that happens on the social platforms, because the social platforms are controlled by the liberal people, and they do not like conservative people like me, or people I would say that lean conservative. It still confuses people greatly when I'm like, I get crazy looks when I'm like, yeah, I'm pro gun, but I'm pro choice, people. And the reason I'm pro choice is because I believe in individuals' right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I believe that everybody should have positive control and make their decisions over their body. And it's discouraging to me how people can, on one side of the aisle can say, my body, my choice when it comes to, um, you know, wanting to abort a child, but they don't listen to the other side when that side doesn't want to get a vaccination that's actually now been proven to not be very effective and in some cases very harmful to the human body. And they're still doing research on all of that stuff. But I'm not going to dive into a huge, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole on the whole COVID thing, because I beat that to death and got canceled and got my page deleted because of that whole situation. But what I can say is that it was really, really nice to validate something that I've known for a long time. And if you take social media out of the equation and you sit down and you have a good exchange and a good discourse of thoughts and beliefs and ideas and perspective, um, it's so much better of an interaction. I got to spend a lot of time with Heba and Shep and their family, and they're largely, I know this is shocking because they live in LA, but they're largely liberal people. And we guess how many arguments we got in? Zero. Guess how many disagreements we got in? Zero. Guess how many times I got kicked out of the house? Zero. Because they're great. They're great, phenomenal people, and they're good listeners and they're critical thinkers. And I'm the same way. And we sat down and we had a small discourse on a you know, um, few things, and there was no arguing. There was no. I respected their position on things. They respected my position on things. And I'd like to think that if we took this, you know, garbage ass social media culture out of the equation, that Americans could get back together and have a good discourse. And I'm just going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep talking about it because it's my life and it's the universe that I live in. I am largely caught in the middle because I am not all the way right and I am not certainly all the way left. So um, there's things from both sides of the aisle that I disagree with. There's things that I do agree with both parties. And so, um, you know, I think we lose sight of that, especially during election years. Those two sides, those two entities on the extreme sides, they just want to go at each other and they just want to, battle it out. And me as an American, like I'm like, hey, can we quit this bickering and this like pendulum situation where we just swing right, we swing left, we swing right, we swing left. And I'm sick of it because there's a whole demographic of Americans like me, and probably a large one that, um, you know, have to deal with this extremism in our politics. This two-party system sucks, and both sides need to realize like they're not the only voice in the room. I'm sorry, Democratic America, you're not the only fucking voice in the room. You have middle America like me, and then you have the right side of the house. And guess what? We're all citizens in this country, and we all have a right under the way this government was structured under the founding fathers to have a voice in what is going on here. And we have to learn how to be more bipartisan, more friendly to each other, have better discourse, have better conversations, and stop this stupid shit talking back and forth on social media because it essentially accomplishes nothing. It's a complete waste of time. It's super toxic. And, the deep state players out there, they love the fact that America is probably as polarized and divided as it's ever been. And they love that because then they can exploit the situation and they can do whatever they want to do at the high end of things while we are busy battling for scraps in the gutter. They are planning and executing global strategic strategy, politically and otherwise. So I think, I would like to see Americans get back to, being Americans and being good to each other and realizing that we need to everybody has a seat at the table. Everybody gets a voice. We're not going to we're certainly not going to agree with each other on matters pertaining to different topics. Some of which I just talked about. Personally, I think the right side should shut the fuck up about abortion, and I think the left side should shut the fuck up about guns. And I think that that'd be a great starting point to just be like, those two topics are taboo. We're not going to talk about them, and we're not going to go at each other because of those things, because those are the two most sensitive and polarizing topics. And so I think if we just left those things alone and some of the other things, we could start finding some middle ground amongst, getting to a place where we could start working together and having good bipartisanship and coming up with things that are going to be beneficial for the American people. The other thing I'm not a big fan of is that the powers that be that are in charge, that are running the show right now in the Congress and the Senate, and if you look at them, they're all very, very elite, wealthy people, primarily all multimillionaires. And if they're not multimillionaires yet, they're going to go to Washington if they get elected, and they're going to become corrupted by all of the money that's trading hands amongst lobbyist groups and campaign donors and all the insider trading that happens up there, and just the list goes on. So, both sides do it. Everybody wants to like point their finger at Joe Biden and be like, "Oh yeah, he's a dirtbag," and I agree with that to a certain extent. But guess what? um, Mitch McConnell, who was the speaker. I think he was the Speaker of the House, or he was the senior representative on the conservative side of the House for the Congress and Senate. He was a his wife is Chinese, which there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is her father is best buddies with one of the largest Chinese government military contractors. He's friends with like the Chinese version of Eric Prince in China, and that man is best friends with Xi Jinping. So the Speaker of the House on the Republican side, Mitch McConnell, has direct ties to the CCP, and they were given by her family a $35 million early retirement gift. That's neat. Early retirement gift when you're the Speaker of the House on the Republican side from the Chinese. That's really, really, really interesting. So what I'm getting at here is both sides are corrupt. Both sides are full of shit. Both sides lie. Both sides cheat. Both sides steal. And there's really no good side. So lately people have been like, from both parties have been sending me DMs and being like, well, can you believe this? Can you believe that? I'm like, yes, I can, because they're all fucking liars. They're all fucking scumbags. Okay. And I really would like to see more good legislation getting pushed. I don't really have the gentleman's name, but somebody was trying to champion a bill to get it, to try and get the congressmen and senators. If you're elected to the House and Senate, you cannot stock trade anymore. They're trying to get that passed through, and it won't, because none of them are going to cut off the millions of dollars that they're doing in insider trading. They're just not going to do that. So insider trading is technically illegal and you're not supposed to do it, but I find it really weird how Nancy Pelosi has access to information that can allow her to make a $10 million trade in 1 week. Um, so yeah, that happened. I've been following, for those of you guys, I want to turn you guys on to this guy, and I don't know him. I just found him on Instagram, and then I started taking a look at his website. It's called Quiver Quantitative, and he studies and tracks all of the stock trading that goes on in the by politicians in the House and Senate, and it's mind blowing what the data that he pulls and puts up, and what's going on with that with regard to that is absolutely mind blowing in a bad way. Like, it is blatantly obvious if you look at some of his data and like watch some of his research videos. Like, he has uncovered quite a bit of uh, insider trading going on in the House and Senate. So we're just sick of that. The American people are sick of that. Okay, I'm tired. I'm tired of super elite wealthy people trying to tell me how bad my life is and how I shouldn't trust other super elite wealthy people, as somebody who's like middle class America. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired of the super elite wealthy on both sides. Like, and I believe in capitalism. I'm not mad at people because they're wealthy. I'm mad at people because they're going to a place where they're supposed to be in service to our country. They're supposed to lead us in a positive direction. They're supposed to do things and promote things that are going to be good for the country and for the people of this country. And they don't. They go up there and they self-serve, and they see how rich they can get, and they see how powerful they can get. And then once they get a taste of that, they don't want to let go of it. And I just think we deserve better as a country. And I think we could do better as a country. And I'm really, really sick to death how of the current situation. And how I know we can do better as a country is when I can go sit with a family as a relative stranger in LA and have an amazing time, have amazing conversations, really, really enjoy the time with the people that I'm spending time with. And they brought their family in, and they had a little pool day that I got to hang out with on Sunday. And they sat, and it was really, really awesome for me to just kind of sit as a fly on the wall and watch how their family interacted. And they do normal family shit, normal American family things. And one of the family members, she was the head, to kind of give you an idea of the territory I was in. We were the Shep's sister, Mary, I believe. She was the campaign manager in California, or the campaign supervisor in California for Obama's campaign. And, she was a very nice lady. She was super pleasant. We had great conversations. We had good interactions. And like, it was awesome to see that family being a healthy, normal family and interacting like American families do. And they're just sitting in the backyard after dinner and little barbecue and swim in the pool, and then they're playing cards, and it was just a lovely, lovely experience, and it just gave me a lot of faith and confidence that if we removed the bad actors and if we got rid of the bad apples in the barrel, then we would probably be able to get a lot of good things done in this country for the people of this country. And so that was kind of my epiphany. But in going on this trip and interacting with these people and doing all the things that I did, I had a really great time, and I just made me kind of stop and take stock, as I do often, with having gratitude in my life, for great people and great experiences. And that's kind of what it's about. Like, I am at a point in my life now where I don't need much material. I'm like not a materialistic person. I don't have a lot of fancy things. I do have, I have a couple nice things, but I don't have I drive an old Toyota pickup truck, and I don't need much. You guys are probably sick of watching me wear the same fucking t-shirt and wear the same hat, but that's just how I am. That's how I'm wired. I'm very utilitarian. I'm very minimalist. I don't need a lot in my life. And I'm very happy that way, because I've learned a long time ago, um, the you know the things you have, and I was God, I'm a tongue-tied fucker today. I need more caffeine. It's late in the afternoon. Forgive me, people. The things you own end up owning you, is what I was trying to say before I got all tongue-tied there. And it's just been that's been a lesson that I've learned several times in my life. The more you have, the more stuff you collect, the more things that you get. Everything that you have has an energetic thread that's attached to you in some way, shape, or form, and it will weigh you down over time. So, like, I'm very minimalist. I don't like to own a lot of things, and I'm very comfortable that way. And so I've been able to craft my life in a way that I really love, and allows me great freedom of movement, and it allows me to go around and have great experiences with really good people from all walks of life. And one of the really cool things that I would like let you guys know is that I did not realize it, but Shep, who is Heba's husband, is also the bassist from a band called Pygmy Love Circus, who I used to love and listen to when I was a kid. And I'm pretty sure I saw them at a Lollapalooza show, and either in LA. I went to two Lollapaloozas. I went to one in Denver and I went to one in LA. And I'm pretty sure I saw them play at the Lollapalooza in LA back in, like, oh man, I'm going to say 97, 98. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've been to those shows. But yeah, so I'm going to get him on the podcast, because him and I sat down and we had a really, really great talk. And he said something to me to the effect of, and we'll talk about more when I get him on the podcast, but we talked about his journey with drugs and alcohol, and we talked about how he's been clean and sober for like 36 years, which was super, super impressive. But he was talking about his journey with that whole thing, and he gave me, we were talking about some of the rough times that I've had with, coming to terms with the situation with my ex-wife and my son. And he looked at me and he goes, well, what you're doing is the equivalent of taking a pill of poison and hoping the other person dies. With regard to me, like, hanging on to animosity and being upset about it, instead of like having more forgiveness and being a little more objective about it. And I completely agreed with him, and it just kind of blew me away. And I had this moment of just like, wow, that kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. And I had to take some time to think about that, and caused me a lot of reflection. And as I was driving back from California, cruised back through Las Vegas, because I have a good friend of mine from Australia. Shout out to Joshy, who is he's a professional fighter. He's a middleweight, and he is here training in the U.S. And I helped him get all settled into Las Vegas and helped him get set up there so he could get a good camp done before he heads back to Australia in mid-October. So cruise back through Las Vegas, and as I was driving that desert strip from LA out to Vegas, I had the opportunity to sit with some windshield time and really reflect on things and reflect with my own life, and realize that I think I need to restructure some things with what we've got going on with the podcast here and with what we're doing with media and some of the other stuff. And I really need to, I think, trim some fat on some things, because I am completely guilty. and my patrons will confirm this. I'm completely guilty of like being the magician that gets like the 40 plates spinning on the sticks. And then occasionally, like I get a couple of plates that fall and break while I'm spinning the 20 plates on the one side of the room. The other 20 plates on the other side of the room sometimes will fall and break. So I think realistically, what I need to do is get some get some reorganization going here in terms of like what we're doing. We've been going on the podcast now for 3 years, and it's been largely a labor of love for me. And I really enjoyed doing it. However, sometimes I feel guilty because it's also a huge distraction. And realistically, I'm getting to the point where in this whole process and procedure of running the podcast, I'm going to have to engage some new strategies with like how I get guests. And, with regard to that subject and other subjects in the business development realm and the other 42 avenues that Cato and I, play in, I'm getting really short on the tooth. And I guess here's where the rant portion of this Weapons Free Wednesday is going to come in. But I am really like, it's amazingly apparent to me now why Gen X is running the show right now. Gen X is like largely running most things probably right now, and it's because we grew up in an age before technology existed. We grew up, taught by our parents that there is a right way and a wrong way to engage humans, and your word is your bond, and communication is king, and execution is king. Don't talk about it, be about it. It was kind of a something that was coined by Generation X, by my generation. And it's completely obvious to me now that I can't even get mad at millennials anymore because Generation Z, all the Zoomers out there, fucking you guys are fucked up. Okay. Just, I don't know what's wrong with you, but if we could just, maybe put the whole like victim narrative card down, maybe take some personal responsibility and then step up to the plate. I mean, I get it. I know why you're so fucked up because the millennials fucking raised you and trained you. So like, I understand. I understand why you're fucked up because millennials were fucked up too. But if we could get people to just do simple things, I don't know, like maybe respond to fucking emails, that would be really amazing because I get really sick the fuck to death of chasing humans down. Can't even be bothered to, can't be fucked, as Kate likes to say, to answer a fucking email. Okay. If I reach out to you and I say, hey, do you want to be on the podcast? And you say, yes, I'd love to be on the podcast. And I say, cool, well, let me know what your schedule looks like in the next couple of weeks and I'll get you booked in. And then I literally don't hear anything back from you. So 2 weeks goes by and then I reach back out and I say, hey, did you still want to be on the podcast? Oh yeah, I totally did. Yeah, sorry. I completely spaced it. I was so busy. You know what my favorite excuse in the world is? I'm so busy. It's not my favorite. I'm being facetious. I fucking hate it when people say I'm busy. Like, don't tell me about fucking busy. Okay. I don't need to hear about fucking busy. Okay. I'm the king of fucking busy. I'm running a fucking media company. I've got a Patreon channel. I've got a YouTube channel. I have fucking 2 Instagram channels. Uh, I'm starting my training company back up. I've got a product company that I develop product for. I consult in the film space. I consult in the product development space. I consult in the business development space. Like I know about busy. Okay. I definitely know about busy. I don't want to hear your fucking excuses about busy. All I want is for you to answer a goddamn email. That's it. Okay. And be a good human. And you would be horrified if I just started putting some of these conversations up that I was having either via email or via text. And you could see like people being like, oh, well, yes, I totally want to do it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, could you take a look at your schedule right now and let me know what date works for you? Oh, yeah, you know what? I don't have my schedule in front of me. Well, that's weird because you're fucking talking to me on a smartphone, and everybody that's somebody that I would want to interview is probably got a Google Calendar or an Outlook calendar or some type of fucking calendar in their phone that they're talking to me on right in that moment when I'm calling them. And they could probably pull that calendar up, look at it, and be like, oh, yeah, I'm available on this day. And then boom, I say, okay, I look at my schedule. I'm like, yep, that works. And I get them penciled in and booked, and then we're done. Okay. My other least favorite thing too is the people that have their favorite communication strategy. And so now in my business development practices, I've often started saying, hey, what is your preferred method of communication? Because I am sick to death of trying to like solve that riddle. We have Telegram, we have Signal, we have regular text, we have email, we have Slack, we have phone calls, we have carrier pigeons, we have all the things. Okay, we have satellite uplink, we have all the ways that you could possibly, like, it's is easy for humans to communicate now more than ever in our entire history on this planet. And for whatever reason, people will pick their favorite communication strategy, whether that's Instagram DM or Facebook Messenger or Slack or text or email or phone call. I'm a big phone call guy. I like phone calls. Phone calls are quick. It's easy. The context in my voice and what I'm, telling you doesn't get fucked up. You don't get mad at me because you think I'm being a fucking dickhead if you can hear the context in my voice when I call you on the phone. So I love phone calls. I love interacting on phone calls with human beings and hearing somebody's voice on the other end. That's my preferred method of communication. Now, where that's bad is when you have complex, like, things that you're communicating on the phone and you don't follow it up with an email to summarize the conversation, which is actually a little extra work, but you got to do it because then people start having cases of amnesia and they're like, oh, I forgot that we talked about that. Or I totally spaced that out. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot because I was so busy. And then we're back to the busy excuse, which I fucking hate. I want to slap people when they fucking are like, oh, sorry, I was so busy. Neat. You either suck at time management or I'm not a priority, which is fine. Like, I get it. And I'm just a person that I like direct, concise conversation, and I'm good with a no. We're in such a political, like, such an area of, like, everybody trying to watch what they say so they don't get canceled, and the level of, like, political correctness is, like, off the charts, that you often find times that the people will they don't you get ghosted because people don't want to deliver a no. So here's what I'm going to tell everybody out there. If you're dealing with me in any capacity, I don't care if it's friendship, if it's business, if it's romantic relationship, like, I like clear, concise, good conversation. And I'm not afraid of a no. I'm not afraid to get my feelings hurt. Okay. Because that's just part of life. And growing up as in Gen X, like, that's how we roll. Our parents would leave, like, sandwiches out for us and we would come back and eat them at like 10:30 at night after we've been out, like, drinking out of garden hoses all day and fucking riding our bikes around the neighborhood, shooting bottle rockets at each other, maybe getting in fist fights depending on what day it was, or, fill in the blank. I'm good with a fucking no. Okay. I'm a US Marine. Okay. I'm good with a fucking no. I'm good with a hard no. Okay. Just don't be a dick. You don't have to be a dick, but, if you don't want to participate in whatever I'm suggesting, or you don't want to be on the podcast, that's the other thing too, is, like, I've had, in the last 3 years that we've been doing this, I've only had, I would say, two, no, three. I've had three human beings, and I love them for it, that said, as a matter of fact, I even said, thank you so much for answering my communications, and thank you so much for just telling me no. I'm super into that. I appreciate the fact that you don't want to be on my podcast, or I appreciate the fact that you don't do podcasts, or I appreciate the fact that you don't think my podcast is big enough to give you a return on the time that you would spend with me interviewing you, which has happened on occasion. Like, I was actually told by an individual, like, yeah, I took a look at what you're doing, and, like, I don't play at the level that you're at. Fucking, I was like, okay. I mean, I'm in the top five. I'm in the top 5% stream globally. So I'm not, it's not like I just started this 2 weeks ago, but I really appreciated that. And I told that person, hey, first of all, because you have like 400 and some odd thousand followers on Instagram, thanks for answering my DM. Thanks for communicating with me, and thanks for being honest and upfront about how you feel. I really appreciate it. Because what that does when people are honest and upfront with me is it keeps me from wondering what the fuck is going on, and wondering why I'm in this state of, like, communication purgatory, and what your intentions are. And I don't like being in that. Like, being in an information vacuum, it's why keeping your troops informed is one of the fucking troop leadership steps in the US military. Keeping your troops informed. Nobody likes being in a information bubble where they don't know what the fuck's going on. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes a state of uncertainty, especially me. So when I message and I say, hey, do you want to be on the podcast? If you don't want to be on the podcast, say, fuck no, Brian. What fill in the blank reason? I'm like, cool, thank you. Because then I'm not chasing you for 3 and 4 weeks at a time, being like, hey, do you want to be on the podcast? Yeah. Maybe you really don't want to be on the podcast, but you don't want to hurt my feelings. And so what you're doing is you're like, oh, well, I'll just keep making excuses and kicking the can down the road. And eventually he'll get tired and he'll quit asking me. And then I won't have to tell him no. That is a pussy way to fucking be as a human being. I'm just going to tell you right now, I have no fucking respect for that. Okay. And that's why I've adjusted my policy to now I'm going to reach out to you And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be for the podcast. It could be for business development. It could be for, hey, do you want to go to the movie with me tonight? Hey, do you want to have dinner? Hey, do you want to go for a hike? Do you want to go to the range and shoot some guns? Whoever that human is, friends, business, or romantic relationship, I'm going to engage you twice. You're going to get twice from me. I'm going to ask you once. And if I don't hear from you, great. I'm going to reattack and say, hey, do you want to go do this? Just a reminder, like, I'm over here waiting for a fucking answer. And if you don't want to do it, just say no. Okay. But you're only going to get you're only going to get engaged twice from me. And then after that, fuck you. And I'm going to move on and do other things. Okay. And you can keep doing whatever it is that you're doing. I just really appreciate people to have some backbone and have some honesty. And if you're one of these people that doesn't like tough conversations, okay, like my partner Kate, she does not like to have hard conversations with people. And I've really been trying to coach her on it and say, like, stop being a pussy. Okay. I can't believe that you're a combat sports athlete that is 24th in the world and is a fucking badass at what you do. And you're afraid to have a tough conversation with one of your friends, like, hey, I don't want to do X, Y, and Z. Hey, I don't want to go out and have coffee right now. Like I used to get, it used to drive me crazy. We used to have some very colorful discussion about it because she would do those things. She would not, and she's gotten a lot better about it. She's getting way, way better about it. And I think, if I'm being quite honest, I think some of my like American forwardness is really starting to rub off on her, and she's starting to get it and understand things. So um, she's starting to get it, and she's starting to get way better about it. But when we first met, like she was terrible at telling people, you know, how she felt and what she needed, and advocating for herself, and not letting people take advantage of her or walk on her. And I think it's a learned skill, but you've got to do it. If you want to get anywhere in this life and you want to survive and you want to become anything and you want to accomplish any goals, you have to learn to advocate for yourself. No one else is going to do it for you. And if you, the world will chew you the fuck up and spit you out. Rule number one, life is not fair. Okay. And the world is not, it's not getting better. It's getting worse, as a matter of fact. So if you don't learn how to be tough, have some thick skin, take some constructive criticism, deal with people telling you no, and you don't know how to have a hard conversation or answer a fucking email when somebody sends it to you and says, hey, what do you want to do? Do you want to, can you come on the podcast? Can you make it to this meeting? Do you want to go have dinner? Do you want to go shooting? If you can't respond back to that, you need to really sit down and have a hard look at yourself and your internal, the way you conduct yourself. Okay. Because it's not going to lead you any place good. So there's my rant on, I would say, personal responsibility ethics from the lone element lens. Yeah, I think we need more personal accountability, me included. Okay, me included. So there's things that I could do better, and I'm working to correct that. The difference I would say between myself and maybe other humans is that I'm good with having accountability. I'm good at looking at things. I'm good at saying, "Up, drop the ball on that," and taking responsibility for it. I'm good at saying, "Well, I fucked that up," or apologizing for something mean that I said or off color that I said. I'm good at taking responsibility for those things, and I wish more people could do the same. I think we'd have a much better world. We could have better human interconnectivity. I think technology is doing a good job of fucking us up, is really what's going on. It's got some really, really great benefits, but it's also got some really, really ugly, nasty detractors. But you can't bet against it. Like, technology's not going anywhere, and if you bet against technology, then you're going to lose, because it's doing nothing but proliferating more and more and more, especially with the advancements in AI and what's going on with AI and all the things that AI is doing and is going to be capable of in the next 3 to 5 years. So it's going to be an exciting, interesting time to be alive. Like, I'm already, like, as a guy that grew up with zero internet, zero cell phone, when I was a kid, and seeing where we have proliferated to even in the last just 20 years, even since like just 2000, where we're at now in 2024, soon to be 2025, because we are sneaking up on fourth quarter. And yes, people, that's how fast things go by. I literally was just at SHOT Show. Then I was literally, in Australia. Then I was for Anzac Day with Nick and Gabe and Tommy and all my good Aussie cunts over there in Australia. Which, by the way, shout out to all my Aussie peeps. Okay, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. I love Australian people. I love the country of Australia. You guys are great. I mean, you guys have a fucking piece of shit government just like we do. But you guys as human beings and as people are fantastic, and I really value you and love you guys. And I can hardly wait to and get back to Australia this next year. So I've decided that Anzac Day is going to be a regular practice for me because I had such an amazing time last year when I was there. So that will happen again this coming spring of 25. I will be back playing two up, drunker than a skunk with my Aussie mates. But yeah, anyway, I got sidetracked there for a second, but giving shout outs to people. But yeah, just as my friend Griff at Combat Flip Flop says, just be a better human. You know, we all have the opportunity, we all have choices every single day on what type of human we want to be. And we should all be striving to make improvements to ourselves, no matter how big or how small those are. And if they're big improvements, just do it scared. I've got some friends right now that are interested in going to ayahuasca. They've talked to me in depth about it. I've given them all of the information that I can give them. And I got some text messages from one of my really good friends. I think she's amazing. She's great. And she really wants to go to ceremony, but then started the negative self-talk started. The voices started, and she started talking herself out of it. And I had to give her some like hard truth today or yesterday, as a matter of fact. Yesterday, I had to be like, hey, you've had plenty of time to prepare for this. You still have plenty of time to prepare for this. You said you want to do it. I know it's scary. I know it's a big step, but you have said you really want to do it. So show up for yourself. Show up for yourself and keep promises to yourself, which is hard for some people to do. So I will continue to help coach and mentor my people in a positive direction when it comes to not listening to the fucking voices. Okay. And all of us have them. I've just gotten really, really good at telling them to shut the fuck up. Anytime I start having negative self-talk, I immediately replace it with positivity and gratitude. Gratitude is my secret weapon. When I start feeling like the world sucks and I hate everybody and I wish everyone would die and I wish the earth would explode into a fiery ball of flame so that we could all move on to the next, whatever the next thing is, because things suck that bad, I immediately have to catch myself and snap myself back and say, hey, stop being a fucking asshole and be grateful because you have a hot cup of coffee in your hand. You have blue sky over your head. You're healthy. You have all your mental faculties and control of all your mental faculties. And you have, you're still healthy and can move around. So be grateful. Be grateful that you're not lying in a hospital bed dying of some disease. Be grateful that you're not starving to death. Be grateful that you're not living someplace where you have to live in fear for your life, like Afghanistan, because the government there will fucking chop your head off if you post the wrong thing on the internet. So have gratitude, and that's how I keep myself walking in a straight line, so to speak. So anyway, I think that is it for this Weapons Free Wednesday. I hope you guys, this is not going to go out before we do our live. Tonight I have a live with on Instagram with Chris Cook over at Odyssey Training Consulting. This podcast it'll go up in the next couple of days. So we've still got plenty of time. Chris Cook and I are at Odyssey Training Consulting. He's been on the podcast as well. Look up his podcast if you want to listen to Chris and I talk about training stuff. Chris and I are doing a collaborative low light tactics course here in Utah at the Farm Training Center. And that's going to be September 21st, 22nd. Price of admission on that, it's a 2-day course. It's going to be $650 per student plus ammo. You're going to have to get your ammo. I think we're doing 500 rounds of rifle and 9mm. And then Chris and I think are going to, we'll talk about it tonight. We got to iron out the who's providing the non-lethal training ammo to do the force on force blocks of the class. So, but anyway, that's going to be tonight. You guys will make that because this will go out after that. But that course is happening. Please go on Chris's website if you want to support that and come out to the training and train with us. We would love to have you guys out. As I said, here in Salt Lake, September 21st, 22nd, low light tactics. Go to the Odyssey Training and Consulting website, odysseytrainingconsulting.com. Go to classes and you will see it'll be there, and just click the link and it'll take you to whatever you've got to do next in terms of paying and showing up and letting me shoot the shit out of you with a sim round. Teaching you how to gunfight in the dark. So that's what that's going to be. What else do we have coming up? We're just going into hunting season. We've got some exciting new sponsors. BC Precision Ballistics is on board with us. Barnes is on board with us. Sierra is on board with us. we've got some. We're going to be definitely having some exciting projects and things going on going into 2025. So I'm optimistic and excited about it, but I did need a block of time to just sit quietly and stare out the window and have no stimulus input at all for a couple weeks. I needed some time to go camping, needed some time to relax and chill out, and kind of refit, readjust, and get prepared to reattack the rest of this year going into fourth quarter. So I hope you guys are well wherever you're at on the globe. Thank you so much for tuning in for this episode of the Lone Element Podcast. I hope this provided you some value. I know it was a little bit off the mark in terms of like what some of you guys tune in because you love to just hear me rant and rip people to pieces. But every once in a while, I like to provide a little bit of value to my folks out there that don't walk around with with a fuck the world attitude like I do sometimes. So I wanted to put some positivity out there on this podcast and just let you guys know that I'm thinking about all of you guys, and be good Americans, be good people. Pick up your trash if you're out in the forest. I don't like picking up people's trash when I'm out there camping, and it happens every time I have to go out there. So pick up your trash, be a good human, don't pollute the environment, be nice to the people around you, especially if they're not from here. If you're dealing with foreigners, always remember that you're an ambassador of the United States, and how you treat those people will determine their opinion of us when they go home. So keep that in mind, and vice versa. If you're walking around in a foreign country like I often do, remember that you're a guest there, and always be kind and considerate and polite. Enough dad talking. I will get the fuck off here now. I hope you guys enjoyed this wherever you're at on the globe. Thanks for joining us. We will see you next week on the Lone Element Podcast. Peace.
Anyone who runs is a VC. Anyone who stands still is a well-disciplined VC.